Welcome to the Think Deep podcast where we talk all things deep. I'm your host, David Dilworth, and I have my main man here, Stephen Jensen.
What's going on, Dave?
So, man, it's been a while since done a podcast here. We had some things going on. I know for me, I've actually been doing a lot of things kind of with meditation after I read this book. This guy actually was a follower of us on the podcast. It was called 101 Daily Thoughts and Affirmations to Create Positive Change by Micheal Austin Jacobs. And basically the whole book was about like all these different kind of, I guess, thoughts about how to create your own internal happiness and to be kind of present in the moment. And I've never been the one to sit still for 5 minutes and I guess try anything to do with meditation. But I have to say, ever since I have to say that every day's been really exciting that I've been looking forward to, and it's been pretty interesting. But have you ever tried like to meditate or anything like that?
Just a little bit. Is this the same video that we talked about before? It was like a YouTube video.
Well, this wasn't the YouTube video that I have was actually, it's a sound that you play with headphones, and it gets you into the meditative state very quickly. This book is just generally about, it has a chapter in there about meditation, but actually I downloaded their iTunes album, which is like 6 1 hour, I guess, songs you can of like these meditation type of vibrations or whatever. But I actually use that every day because everybody kind of meditates a little bit different, and I think that works best for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've messed around a little bit with meditation, but kind of on my own time. I did it a little bit in school. We talked about that before, but like now that I have easy access to professional massages based on where I currently work, that's kind of my meditation now, is to do like a 1 hour, they release a lot of toxins out of your body at the same time, but it's very relaxing to have all your muscles worked out. And I fell asleep today about a half hour in. That's not necessarily like me thinking, no pun intended, me not really thinking deep into like, reality or anything like that, but it's just a very, very relaxing thing that I think everyone should definitely, do often.
Yeah, definitely being relaxed is important, but I kind of think that everybody has their own reason or have their own different type of outcome when it comes to meditation. And I guess the best way I can describe it for me is that this whole idea that you have to sit lotus style with your fingers like clasped this way, you can do it any type of way. What I hear is the hardest thing about meditation is actually taking the time to do it. Just taking out 20 minutes a day to do it. And what I kind of compare it to is that you're losing the sensation of your body. Let's say if you're just sitting there and you're breathing in and out, there's a point where you're not going to feel like your fingers clasped together, your feet connected or anything like that. And so what happens is that because you're not feeling that sensation of your body when you get there, and how quickly you get to the meditative state varies for different people, the only thing you have left is kind of like conscious thought. And so when you have conscious thought, your mind's racing about different things. But if you kind of just focus on breathing, it kind of, some of the other things kind of just go away. And the only thing that you're really kind of thinking about is being present in that moment. And it's not, I would say, there's times where I have this feeling like I'm floating or I'm flying because I can't feel like your body there, and you're just appreciating what's happening right then. And I think there's a lot of people, one thing that in this book that I was reading by Micheal Jacobs, he talks about how the cornerstone of stress is expectations. There's a lot of times when we're thinking, oh, I need this promotion, or, if I only had this TV, or if I had this car or anything like that, everything will be there. Well, the whole thought process behind that, you're kind of letting time pass by because you have this expectation and the stress builds instead of being happy right then in that moment. And that's so important because that actually attracts other people and more abundance in your life. Because anybody that you think is cool or popular, they're very happy and comfortable within themselves internally. And that's something that I think other people admire, but it's kind of hard to achieve. And I think that meditation kind of helps me with that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, I can definitely relate to the, thinking about work too much and getting stressed out over that and not even really experiencing what's happening, in the present. And also, I think something you said was really important, breathing. Just as simple as it sounds, like breathing helps so many things, especially when it comes to just keeping yourself calm. I didn't think too much into it until this is a free plug for DDP Yoga. For anyone who hasn't tried it, I'd highly recommend it. It's something I do in my apartment. It takes like 20 minutes a day. And part of the exercises are basically seeing how long you can take breaths in and hold them, and then how long you can release them. And when you're done doing it, not only do you feel healthier because your lungs feel better and they're able to, you're like working out your lungs essentially. And then once you realize like you might have a stressful job, I know I deal with customer service, I deal with people face to face, and not everyone's going to be nice. And when that happens in front of you, if you take the second to do, not necessarily a breathing exercise, but you sit there, you take a couple deep breaths in, deep breaths out, I think you're way less likely to overreact or get super flustered or anything during that interaction. You're going to be a lot more calm, cool, and collected just because you took the second to breathe.
Well, I don't know if you've listened to one of Rogan's recent podcasts when he has Hicks and Gracie on there. And Hicks and Gracie's podcast has to be probably, if not my favorite, definitely the top 3 that I've ever heard on Rogan's podcast.
I was going to say I've seen the first half hour of it. I haven't gotten around to watching the full episode yet.
His mind is just on another level, and he's, I guess, well known and well understood as kind of the best jiu-jitsu guy out there. And I mean, yeah, he's older now, but I guess he's just this legend. And he talked about how his family, I mean, those viewers who don't know out there, pretty much the Gracie family is pretty much brought jiu-jitsu to America, and some say even popularized jiu-jitsu or even created it. And Hickson is supposed to be the best out of all the sons of the grandfather of the Gracies, who just pretty much banged every girl that he saw and created this big army of ruthless killers. And Hickson was the best. And the guy that everybody knows is Hoist Gracie in the UFC, because in the early days he was dominating. And when he was winning, they would interview him and say, oh, you're really good. He goes, oh, you have to see my brother. He is so much better. He was actually supposed to be the worst one. And he talked about that on the podcast. But anyways, I kind of digress there, is that one of the points that he said that Rogan asked him, he said that what is the most influential thing or the best thing that you learned that helped your jiu-jitsu the best? And this is how he responded. He said that breathing. He goes, when I was younger, my father, he told me about breathing, and I thought it was nothing, but I just kept doing it. And he practiced control of his breath. And he said that that he started to realize that a lot of fatigue and stuff like that is this kind of hyperventilating that you're doing, and you're creating this mental exhaustion that correlates to your body. So he said that when he figured out how to control his breath, his endurance just kind of was like ridiculous. And he was just owning people because he was just getting started because he could control his breath in stressful situations. And he said that that's the biggest advantage. Another thing that he said, that this is a real reason why I want you to listen to the podcast, because you're such a fan of MMA. Rogan asked him, what would you change about the fighters today, and what are you seeing today when it comes to jiu-jitsu? Is it getting better or worse? And his answer was this: what you're seeing today is what is it? He said something like winning, but not execution. No, you're seeing execution, but not efficiency. That was it. Execution, not efficiency. He says that jiu-jitsu today, there's a lot of people that are holding things, and because everybody's technical ability has gotten really well. So because of that, he says that jiu-jitsu is meant to be like a continuous attack of that. And he's saying that people are learning technical jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu isn't evolving because these kind of holdings and you have going on there is actually opportunities to keep moving forward. And he said that that's what he's disappointed about, is that the technical side of it is really taking away the creativity of jiu-jitsu.
Well, I think a lot of people would also say, and this is my view as well, and like I said, I haven't actually watched this podcast yet, but I'm probably going to talk about probably stuff they covered on it, because it's a big kind of debate amongst like hardcore MMA fans. A lot of that has to do with there being rounds, because jiu-jitsu was more effective when it was an overall fight, when there was no time limit and you had an hour.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Did they talk about this?
Yes.
The thing, when it becomes technical jiu-jitsu, you're trying to win 5-minute rounds, and that changes. It's a completely different sport than if it's no rounds, because Rogan talks about this a lot during his UFC commentary. He believes if you're a good wrestler and you're able to hold someone down for an entire fight, then there should be no stand-up rule, because the other person has not figured out how to get off the ground. So that guy's wrestling is going to trump anything this guy does. If there's no point system, that's a completely different scenario. But with jiu-jitsu, like, it was super successful at the beginning because these guys could handle that whole attack in the mindset and the thinking through everything, and they could get there, a half hour, 35, 40 minutes into a fight and then submit somebody, because the other guy, they're working for a much longer amount of time with no breaks, and there, once again, was no point system where you had to land the most strikes or be the most aggressive. It was about winning or losing a fight, and that's, there's a lot of debate amongst MMA fans about, whether or not it's better now than it was then. And my stance on it is basically this: I wish that there were no rounds in the UFC, and I wish if they were going to do rounds, they'd be longer rounds, because in 5-minute rounds, someone who's a good wrestler, if you take someone down and lay on them, it's going to get stood up in a minute or so, because there's no action going on. You can't score points based on the current system. Fans are going to start booing, yada, yada, yada. Whereas when it was more of a sport with no restrictions like that and no weird point system like what they use now, there was a clear-cut winner and loser, because someone either had to tap out, got knocked out, or a towel was thrown in from their corner.
Wow. Oh, man. I saw something this morning. I'm always like watching, was it ESPN First Take? It's just weird because I actually think I like sports debate shows and actually watching the sports itself sometimes. But except for when it comes to football. There was, I guess, LeBron James. Did you see he's like losing weight or something now? Because he wants to be all like slender and have like a longer career, be more lengthy, whatever. And they show the Instagram picture of him. Dude, he looks weird. He's like, his head's bigger than his body. I don't know if this is a good thing. Have you seen this?
I haven't. I have not seen. The only sports-related news I have seen in the last few days was that the John Jones, Daniel Cormier fight at the UFC 178 media day. That's really the only, aside from MMA-related stuff, I haven't. I mean, if I was LeBron James, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
I don't know why he would believe he would need to do something like that. The guy just got the deal of a lifetime to come back to his town and still is on a really good team. I don't know why he would mess with that physically, but
yeah, I think that because like Dwayne Wade is all trying to lose weight because of his knees are going bad. He can never last in the playoffs because of his broken knees there. And I think maybe they were talking, and he was just like, "Hey, if I had to change anything about my career, probably would have." Just kept the pounds off or something. But I'm looking at the picture right now. Oh my goodness, he looks weird. He's got a. Well, I guess hey, if it works, whatever.
What are you searching? I'm gonna take a look at that picture as well.
LeBron James weight loss, and it's like a split screen one, and he has like some hat on, and it probably has some message. Ohio against the world is what it says on the hat.
Ohio against the world, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what it says on the hat that he's wearing.
Wow. Let's see if I can pull this picture up here.
But yeah, apparently
he looks like lanky.
Yeah, he's like cut out all carbs or something like that.
I don't know if that's. I mean, I understand the mindset behind saving your knees and carrying around that bulk and that weight on them.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't know if that doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks weird. Help of the no carb diet. Let me see what this says here. I think that's why he's doing it. What have you been up to lately?
Like I was saying before the podcast, I started a new job recently, so that's been taking up quite a bit of my time.
Yeah.
But aside from that, hanging out, going to the pool, and
how's the YouTube channel going?
You know what? You'll like.
Okay.
I'm learning how to play bass guitar right now.
What?
That's something. Yeah. Yeah, I know like 5 Nirvana songs all the way through already. I picked it up, and everyone that I've played with so far is pretty much just saying I'm a natural at it, and which is cool to hear. But really, it's more along the lines of I've heard these songs so many hundreds of thousands of times that I know how they go. So once I can memorize a pattern with my hands, I can do it.
Yeah.
But listen to know if I'm hitting it correctly or not. But it's been fun because I got some buddies out here who are really good musicians, and they're always jamming. And I was like, well, shit, we got a guy playing live drums, a guy playing guitar, a guy singing. It's like, and I don't play any instruments, and electric guitar and acoustic guitar is too difficult for me because I'm still not used to holding my fingers in those ways where you're playing the chords, and the one string was much easier for me. So I've actually really liked playing. I'm actually going to play tonight after this podcast. I'm going to go meet up with those guys. So
you're going to play what, in front of people?
No, not tonight, but I think I will be fairly soon, but only maybe a song or two, and it'll be something very basic.
Yeah. Well, at least you'll be playing with people to kind of support you, whatever. I play guitar, and I've had some times where it didn't work, and that's what made me better at the times when it did. And I tell you, there's been a lot of different situations where I guess I played, and there were sometimes, I thought I was better than what I was, and you play with some real musicians, and you're like, okay, all right, if I'm going to play, I need to take this a little bit more seriously. And I think that the best thing for it, and I think kind of like a stand-up comedian, is like bombing. Because after like that, those are the times I remember the most, and I remember like going home and like, after going in a fetal position from embarrassing myself, it's just like, man, I just practiced my ass off because I do not want to suck again. And so, you really appreciate those moments that do work. So one of the best things I've learned is under promise, over deliver. I just don't go around telling people like, hey, I play guitar. And then there's like this expectation. Like I'll just, there's one in the corner, someone asked me to play. And then from there, they're like, it's always a better moment that way to like wow people when they don't expect it than to have those expectations. So I kind of like learned that at parties and stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, I agree with that. That's definitely a much cooler way to go about it.
Yeah, I played actually played for this girl the other day, and there's sometimes if I'm feeling it, I'll sing a song or whatever. But I know I tried it out and it actually worked out pretty good. I played like on this cruise ship one time, and I didn't know it was going to be a theater and stuff. And dude, I sucked ass. All right, I definitely ate some dick on stage. That was so bad. Like, it was bad. And then after that, like, I was like fearless to play other places. So anywhere else, I was playing like parties and stuff. Dude, I was bulletproof because I had bombed in a theater. And so any other setting, like, I think from then, I just went to the stretch of having really good, like, you know, sets playing. But it was, it took that for all the other stuff to work because, like, it was easier, like, if I messed up one time, not to pause, just kind of, like, laugh and just keep going because, you know, I've been down that road before, you know. I dug deep in the mud and, you know, in order to get that way and in order to know how to make that crowd respond and stuff, you have to go through some pain. You got to go through, you're a little edgy because you've had those times where it didn't work. So it's definitely a good process. I think that learning an instrument and then performing it are two separate things.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And, you know, for me, it's really just been, like I said, this was completely impromptu. I never thought I would even really like playing, but once we had, you know, someone's playing the drums and someone's playing electric guitar and singing, and I'm in there doing, the first song I played with other people all the way through was Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana.
Yeah.
And like probably 20 seconds into that song, I was like, this is fucking cool. I was like, everyone's playing, like, and like I knew where to go because I was making eye contact with the other guys. And
that's a good feeling.
When to, yeah, they're kind of nodding, so I know when to, you know, change the melody and then the bass line and stuff, and when to come back out of the chorus and stuff. And it's like you're looking around and you're like, holy shit, we're making actual music right now. Like, I'm actually a part of, and being as big of a music fan as, I mean, I got Led Zeppelin's logos tattooed on my body. I mean, music is very, very important to me, but I just never.
You live in fucking Nashville. That's how important it is.
Yeah, right. I mean, the only instrument I'd ever played, aside from like the recorder that like everyone's required to play in elementary school, was I played tenor saxophone in middle school in like the middle school band, but I was never very good at it. I just played it
Bill
to
Clinton
do it.
On?
What's that?
I said, getting Bill Clinton on with your saxophone.
Yeah, that was when Bill Clinton was popular still.
Did he influence you to play?
No, it wasn't him. It wasn't his. No, I'm just saying that people associate that instrument with him.
Yeah.
But,
I'm just imagining you by the TV watching him on the Arsenio Hall show saying, I want to do that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, man, it's a really cool feeling, especially when, you know, these guys, this guy that he's probably, you know, I think I've told you about him before, Dave. His name is Jonathan Bodie. He just goes by the name Bodie, but he's very, very similar to you. Like, he reminds me a lot of you. And, like, he's my best friend out here in Nashville, and I'm going to be moving in with him soon. And he actually was in a band that was out in L.A. and had made it. Like, he played with... Are you familiar with who Waylon Jennings is?
No.
Okay, he's one of the first major country music stars. He's, like, up there with, like, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
This guy. And his son, Shooter, is still a fairly big name in music. Anyway, long story short, the guy that I know used to play in a band with him, and now he plays in Nashville as like a solo act, and he's trying to get back up the ladder pretty much. But just to give you perspective on the connections that my friend has, it's incredible. Like, me and him were hanging out the other day. He's just teaching me, he was teaching me "Come As You Are" by Nirvana, and he was texting someone on his couch, and I was like, hey, who are you talking to, man? You look pretty interested. And he was like, hold on, I'm going to see if this guy gets back to me, because if not, I don't want to say, because it's going to be lame that this guy didn't respond. The dude's got a running text conversation with Tom Morello.
What?
Like, yeah. He's sitting there talking about getting together with him to learn some new stuff on pedals. Yeah, I'm like, that's insane that you can just text message Tom Morello, and he not only knows who you are, he's trying to schedule a time to meet up to teach you stuff that he's learned throughout the years. Like, so that's who I'm getting lessons from, is like this guy who's on that type of level.
Oh,
who
man.
just has not made a name for himself yet, but he plays about 3 live shows a week, and one of them is on Thursdays, which is an open jam where it sounds like how it is. You know, he goes on stage, he does the singing and the lead guitar, and he has a whole band around him. But if you play an instrument or you want to get up there, you just put your name on a list and you play in front of people. And he wants me to do a Nirvana song on stage, and it's probably going to be in front of, give or take, 50 people. And for me, that's ridiculous. Like, I'm going to be nervous as fuck going up there in front of 2 people. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, that'll come soon. I think in the next couple weeks, I'm going to give it a shot for just one song, just to see what it's like to play in front of a crowd. So
you got to do a podcast after that, and you got to tell me how it went.
I will. Absolutely.
Now, what made you want to start playing the bass?
Honestly, like I said, it wasn't planned. It was just everyone around me playing music and me being a big fan of it. And
well, why do you want to play?
Oh, now I want to continue to play it because it's actually I don't know what the right word is. It's fun. I mean, like it's cool to play it. You know, just the sound at all. Like, I was so proud of myself that I was playing the same thing that Chris Novoselic used to play when Nirvana was the biggest thing in music. Like, just the fact that I could play the same thing, not as well, obviously, and I didn't come up with it, but just the fact that I was able to play it, like, just had me, like, tune into a whole other world where I was like, at first I wanted to learn one song. I wanted to learn Polly by Nirvana, because it's an easy song and I like it a lot. It's off Nevermind, which is, you know, one of the most successful albums ever.
Yeah.
And my buddy kept telling me, once you learn one song, you're not going to just want to stop at learning one song. You're going to start realizing, wait, this is fun, and you're going to want to learn more and more. So that one day, it was about a 3-day span, he taught me 5 songs all the way through. And I'm going to go back there tonight and hopefully learn some more. I mean, it is so new to me, you know, like, and there's thousands of songs out there. Like, so it's, you know, it's a good hobby, I think, so.
Well, I started because I wanted chicks, and I thought chicks did guitar, so that's why I started. So you're probably starting off on a better foot on a deep level, because once I started to play just a little stuff, I didn't even really know that much. I started to realize people who don't know about guitar think that any little thing you play is awesome. And so that came quickly, and then after, you know, I got the women, and it was just like, now why do I want to play? And then, kind of like what you talk about, when you play with a group of people and you're all in tune and in sync, you're just on this wavelength that feels awesome. It's just, I don't know, there's something about, someone told me this and I can't, like, actually I think it was Andrew who told me this. Andrew, he told me that anything that you play that's in rhythm and in time, like in a band setting that's live, no matter, even if it's not a genre of music that you're listening to, people will like it. And, like, they'll appreciate that because it's just something hypnotic about it. And it's an awesome feeling when you're actually playing there and, like, everybody's looking at each other. You give them, like, the little head nod, and you're all in rhythm and tune. And then, you know, this part's coming up and the energy's coming up, and you're a part of that experience. Man, it's an awesome feeling. And if you can get the audience to kind of feel that same that you're having there, it's even more because you're like, holy crap, everybody's listening to this and they like it too, you know?
Yeah, when I think about how powerful music is, not even from, like, a deep level, like where you hear a band that you just fall in love with and songs that just, like, really hit home. Just think about how powerful the idea, because it sounds ridiculous, is of just being in, like, a club. We've talked about it before on this show. If you're in a club and there is, like, loud bass music going on or rap or whatever, and people, just think about the idea of a bunch of people on the same, you know, set of tile in front of a stage that for whatever reason, it's completely 100% normal for that to happen. Whereas, like, you know, if we were to hear music out on the streets, people wouldn't just start dancing. But anyway, it's kind of a setting thing, obviously. But it's the fact that a bunch of people together in a group in one room hear the same thing and are all on the same level, and they start moving together. You know, you're physically altering people, and that's pretty damn powerful. And then to be a part of it is something I have not experienced yet. But if I if I'm up on stage and I'm playing and I look out there and there's even one person that's just swaying one way or another or keeping eye contact with what we're doing and seems interested, I'm going to consider that to be a feeling I've never had before. So.
Well, it sucks when you're playing in front of someone and they're just like texting.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Face to a musician playing live music would be to see someone face down in a cell phone or talking to the person next to them, not paying any attention. That's got to be rough.
You're sitting there pouring your heart out with some solo. Somebody's texting, it's getting in your head. They're probably saying, "This fucking guy sucks."
Yeah, they're tagging themselves on Facebook like fucking jabroni on stage.
Yeah.
This spot, yeah.
Yeah. This was going through your head there, but you got to block all that out, and then you just got to be, just like in meditation is in the music, is being present in that moment and being, I'm playing because I'm enjoying it, and then people that energy kind of translate it. But if you're just like playing like, oh, you like this, you like this, you like this, that seeking that approval is kind of what works against you.
Yeah, I'm going to go up there and, just be myself. I'm going to go up there in like a flannel button up, a pair of jeans, and a baseball cap, and just hope anybody enjoys what I'm up there doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Stephen Jensen uniform.
That's the uniform. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. But yeah, man, it's, I actually think I got this up here. I think we were talking about before, and I know we're kind of circling back way from the beginning there. That quote in that book about stress, though, we were talking about expectations kind of being the cornerstone of stress there. So I want to kind of at least, I don't want to butcher it, but tell exactly what he said. Expectations are the biggest reason for stress. When you hold on to expectations, we are choosing to feel stress. Release what you expect to happen and allow what is supposed to happen to unfold. Remember, expectations are the root of all disappointment. Because, I mean, that's the way it's kind of always been, and I kind of like thought about it. I was always stressed, but I was just like, why am I getting this, and this person is getting that, and things like that, and I started to realize, man, that's just like this internal thing that's, I don't know if it's genetic or some type of jealous trait that this person got this, and started to realize that just turn that around to being inspired, like to work harder. And I think if you look at it that way, it can definitely be a tool to push forward in a much positive direction. And so I don't know. I don't think it's maybe because of getting old or anything like that. I'm feeling this sense of how important gratitude is and how to express everything that you appreciate, because there's a lot of people, like I have friends that lived in Daytona, and then let's say, because we were all hanging out in Daytona, I know that's how I met you, then they talked about how much Daytona sucked, and then they moved to another place, and they're just like, you know what, actually Daytona wasn't that bad, because I had like a lot of friends, and it was also to do that there, and it's like people are who don't live in their present moment, that's what happens, is that they don't appreciate the now. And then when something else goes, they're just like, oh, well, before was actually awesome. And actually, that is something else that's messing with you. Where you're at right now is awesome right now. So don't be that regretful person that didn't appreciate your times, whether it be in Daytona and Nashville. We have Andrew, like in North Carolina there. Like, I guess he's in Texas now. I just recently talked to him. But making that, okay, being grateful for where you're at that spot, because no matter where you're at, I don't know, every town, I lived in a lot of different places. Everybody who lives in that town thinks that town sucks and somewhere else is awesome. And those people that live in that other place that's somewhere else, they say that place sucks. I don't know how many people who live outside of Florida are just like, man, you're so lucky you live in Florida. And everybody in Florida is like, this is like the trashiest state ever. Like, everybody in Florida, like I tell them from Atlanta, they're like, why are you here?
Dude, I dealt with the same stuff when I lived in Florida. And I will say, with all honesty, of all the places I have ever lived and possibly vacationed, Florida is the trashiest. I will absolutely agree to that.
Yes.
But I'll also say Daytona Beach. I mean, that place. Now, all right, this is my thoughts on living in Daytona.
Okay.
When there isn't anything going on, there is not anything fucking going on. Like, nothing. Like, the beach is something I took for granted. I will say that. Being up in Nashville, there aren't really beaches right here that are accessible. I used to be able to drive 10 minutes to one.
Yeah.
I didn't take enough advantage of it. I think Florida, Daytona Beach, and Orlando being the other place that I lived, there are great places to vacation. I want to visit more often because I haven't been down there again since I moved there, and I've been really trying to get down there. But I'll also say, in the year that I lived in Daytona Beach, I made a better close-knit group of friends down there than I have living in Nashville the first time I lived here. Nashville right now, my time in Orlando, that was you and Sean and Blake and Jose and all those guys. I mean, yeah. I'm missing a ton of names, but out of our group of guys there, I've never been a part of a group where I was accepted so quickly and everyone just got along. And I think it was because we were just trying to kill boredom too. I mean, it was where are we going to go hang out now? They're just, what's going on? We worked a lot. We tried really hard at work. Some of us hated our jobs, but we all stuck together. And I think if I still lived in Florida, I think I'd still work for the company I previously worked for because I wouldn't want to leave that group of people.
Yeah.
But, and I've made really good friends in Nashville. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think I've made as many of them that were all as like-minded as I was. So.
That's the whole key, man. Finding a community of like-minded individuals. Because just kind of, what if you had a whole, what if you went to Walmart and all those people were just you knew them, they were awesome, and they were your friends. I don't know if that's possible, but I think it'd be something hopeful to look for. If you just had a whole town of people you just can high five, not feel awkward weirdness, have a conversation. What if you had an inside joke with a cashier or anything like that? That'd just be awesome. I know it'd be like the Truman Show or something, but maybe that's unlikely, but it'd be something cool to kind of strive for.
Yeah, I love the idea of that. I think it's, incredibly unlikely that it'll ever happen, but I think that I would much rather live in a world like that. Unfortunately, even if 90% of the people become that way, you're always going to have your percentage of just dickheads that just want nothing to do with other fucking people. That
crushing my dreams.
Everyone else. What's that? Oh, that's
crushing my dreams. I got to have a couple of dickheads.
You worked in retail longer than me. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who come in and you have a smile on your face from ear to ear, and you are being you. And I genuinely love talking to new people, no matter who they are, where they're from, what they look like, nothing, background, anything. I love when a new person walks through the door where I work or where I used to work, and I say, "Hey, how's it going, man? How can I help you out?" That's what I'm there to do, and I enjoy it. But the second that flip fucking switches, and you realize that they're there to be a fucking dickhead for absolutely no reason, they could respond from, "Oh, hey, how's it going, man? It's good to see you. How can I help you today?" to "Fix this."
Yeah.
You're yo. The whole thing just 180s, and my entire mood changed. I'm just
yeah.
Really? A lot of people just don't know how to talk to other people, too. And I bet you a lot of it has to do with the fact that everyone's face down on a fucking cell phone in public, and no one's experiencing what's going on around them in the rest of their life. And that's a really sad reality.
There's a lot of input going into the mind. There's Instagram, there's Facebooks, you're getting your text message, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you. That's too personal. It takes too long." And then there's
fuck the phone call, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's at this point. I know so many people that are and I've actually heard this out of people's mouths. They're "Yeah, I don't talk on the phone." And I'm "Oh, really?" And they're "Yeah, just text." And I'm "Well, what if someone calls you?" They're "Just ignore it and text them back." It's your only form of communication is your text. That's.
I don't like bonding in human communication. It's too much.
Yeah, I just want to respond, and I don't because, once again, I'm a polite human being, but I want to respond with, "You're a fucking loser." You got to be kidding me.
Let me ask you, on the dating scene. You know, you're a bachelor. Do you call women nowadays? Stephen Jensen out there in 2014 on the hunt. You know, you meet some girl at a bar, you get her number. Maybe you text a couple times, but do you ever call her?
Steven, single, out there, loose in the world.
Yeah. Wow,
sure.
Man. A beast.
Yeah. I'll call. It's the thing with the texting after you meet someone is the girl's perspective is that it's too much if you're calling a lot right off the bat. I guarantee it. They're at this point, they are programmed to play that text messaging game at first. You got to send those little emoji cons or whatever with the little smiley faces and little whatevers, little cats and shit. I mean, chicks fucking love it. Little crowns. I mean, they got one for everything. Once you get past that stage, if you want it to be serious, I'm making phone calls.
See, let's see. Who do you think is a cool dude? Like, this is a pimp dude. Like, you think it's like a Dos Equis guy, Snoop Dogg? Like, who do you think is like a cool pimp dude?
A cool pimp dude, man, that's a good question. It'd take me a minute because I know people who I think are cool, but they aren't like that. Like I would think at first, if someone said, "Who's the coolest guy you think of?" I'd say Jack White.
Jack White.
He's also probably the weirdest fucking dude alive.
Yeah. You think Jack White's just getting women left and right?
Oh, I know he is. He lives here.
So
that dude's the man.
But it's just like, does Jack White, is he just texting women, whatever? Or no, he's probably to the status where it's just like, all right, come in my hotel room. Maybe he doesn't even do phones.
Well, here's the thing. He's like super old fashioned too. I mean, he's all about vinyls and old clothing and old like blues music, like B.B. King and that kind of stuff. Like he's retro. Like, so I wouldn't be surprised if that dude not only was calling girls, he was calling them from one of those rotary phones where half your listeners probably know what I'm talking about, where you're putting your finger into the number and spinning your finger around to dial numbers. Like, that's probably what he's using.
Oh.
Now, if I was to say who's like a pimp,
if he's still using that, he's just you're just being a dick, okay? All right. You can do things more efficiently. You're just doing that to show off.
Obviously, I'm exaggerating. If he is the type of dude that would go out of his way to be that guy, I think. But he's also one of the coolest dudes I can think of.
But my point is, I can't imagine the Dos Equis guy like texting. I can imagine just calling someone up and be like, "Hello, come over. Words don't matter. Dress hot." Like that's like I can imagine just pimping like that. But I just don't imagine him just being like, "What are you doing? LOL smiley face." Like the Dos Equis guy. Come on.
Yeah, the Dos Equis guy's not fucking around with emojis. He's making the phone call.
With all that said, that's what I do.
You make the phone call?
No. I do the texting on there.
Oh, the texting?
I do the texting. Man. Like,
well,
I call my friends, but like, I don't know. I text girls I'm interested in. That's weird.
Dude, well, here's the thing, man. Like, I think the easiest way to gauge if a girl's into you or not nowadays is if she's calling you. Like, if you're sitting around, one night and you're not doing anything and your phone starts ringing and it's a girl that you're interested in on the other line and she made the effort to call you, you're in. Because not only is she thinking about you, she's putting herself out there on that dreaded phone call.
Anybody who makes a phone call nowadays is a strong statement of commitment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's like, I called him. I think he's the one. Yeah, you picked up.
And we also, and so do you, with your, how old are you, Dave?
30.
30, okay, and I'm 26, so fairly the same age. It used to, even when I was in middle school, that was a huge deal. Now, there wasn't text messaging. We had AOL Instant Messenger. That was the closest thing.
Oh, that was the shit back in the day.
That was the shit back in the day. That was huge. I'm surprised that isn't the biggest thing in the history of the world. I can't believe how much that fell off when other stuff came around.
I know. I was like, this is never going away.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And even back then, you would have to plan out like a phone call to a girl. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll call you at 5 o'clock if you're gonna be home," because it was only home phones. So you'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna be home at 5 o'clock on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call you." And if you didn't, you were fucking done. Like they got their hopes up, they made plans, everything was based around this one phone call, and it was a do or die, and you fucking blew it. Now everyone's got phones in their pockets, so now it's just a completely different world that we're living in. I'm not necessarily saying it's worse, but it's definitely different.
See, the worst part about a landline, you got your smooth pimp game going on the phone that your mom picks up, and she's like, "Hello, you're on the phone." You're just like, get off the phone. It's just like you're so embarrassed. Like, that's not experience nowadays,
Right. Well, I can't tell you how many times me and my friends got busted prank calling people with like star 67.
Yeah.
And like my dad would be on the fucking line listening, and like we'd finish, and he'd just walk up to us and just be like, "Well, that was fucking embarrassing." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just heard all of that, and we're just like, "Oh my god."
He had to laugh. He didn't laugh.
My dad?
Yeah.
My dad didn't think anything like that was funny.
Oh, really?
Like, oh my god, no. He has no. I don't want to diss the guy because he's a phenomenal human being, but he has a very weak sense of humor when it comes to stuff that I think is funny, at least. But anyway, I mean, think about that though. You were just saying like phone calls and people picking up. It wasn't that long ago that you could not be on the internet if someone called you. Yeah. Remember that? Like, you'd be on the internet and someone would call and you'd be like, "Fuck!" And like your website would fucking go down and your phone would start ringing. And that wasn't that long ago. I mean, it's crazy.
Yep. Definitely feels like yesterday. That AOL, you got mail. Mail doesn't even talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
That was the shit back in the day. You got mail, you heard that sound? I was like, oh man.
Fucking dial-up sound? Where you... Oh my god.
Fucking chat rooms saying wild shit to people you don't know. Remember, chat rooms used to be the shit.
Oh, absolutely. You had no fucking clue what the other person looked like. You were lucky if someone sent you a picture.
Right.
And 99 times out of 100, it was not that person, guaranteed. But that was the risk you were taking. Because I remember, I mean,
catfishing before catfish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is like ancient catfishing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because I remember there were like lesbian chat rooms and like fucking group chats and like all this stuff in AOL. And like, of course, me and my buddies, being the idiots that we were, we would sit there in lesbian chat rooms and we would be like, we thought we were talking to hot chicks, or at least we were. There was no way of proving it otherwise. So in our minds, oh yeah, this chick's hot.
It's like a fat dude from New Jersey and a dirty wife beater and socks with sandals on.
Yeah, wiping fucking half-eaten chips off his chest.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, remember that? I mean, you would start a conversation with ASL, which stood for age, sex, location, and then you would ask what someone looked like. And they'd be like, "Oh, I'm a, 5'8" tall, blonde, about 120 pounds, blah blah blah," and you'd be sitting there like, "Oh, this is hot." Like, that's fucking Joe beanbag chair sitting there, fucking like you just described, wearing his fucking socks on, then using the sock afterwards for something different, I'm sure, while he thinks about having sex with you, who also is not a girl. So how weird is that?
Oh man, those are my people. Don't make fun of them. That's my dude.
Yeah, someone out there is listening to this podcast and is looking down at the socks and sandals they're currently wearing, just going, "Aw,
man,
that's guy with socks with sandals on. I'm not attacking you personally."
Hey, that's something with the brothers right there. Man, I always see people like after a basketball game, they got on socks and the sandals, whatever. That's something, man, with my brothers. It's something that we do. I don't know what that is. But then again, I guess it's kind of like a blanket on your feet, because no matter what the situation, no matter how cold it is, I want a fan blowing on me with a blanket. So I think the socks and the sandals are kind of like the same thing. You want to breeze, but you want to be toasty at the same time.
Now, are you talking socks with sandals, like like those Adidas, like you know what I'm talking, like where your foot is just slid into just the top strap.
Yeah, that's the thing that the brothers wear. Okay.
Oh
Now,
no, that's actually not that bad. That
not that bad.
everyone's guilty of that at some point in their life. Mainly the brothers. I'll give you that. I've seen it many times myself. I have good friends.
But
The
New Jersey people do it in the church socks.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Okay.
the real thin ones. They go all the way up to close to their knees.
But see, the really lame thing, and you may have done this too, but I'm going to call you lame if you have. I'm picturing the sandals with like the multiple straps that come around the back. That, like, you know,
that's
like
just
camping
crazy.
fucking sandals
That's
with
just
socks.
crazy.
Just looks like you better be rocking a fanny pack also if you're rocking that.
Fanny pack, hands free.
And this is fanable. Hey, that's Joe Rogan. He adores fanny packs.
I thought that the fanny packs would be on the rise, that skinny jeans are on the rise, because like you can't fit nothing in those pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you going to keep your wallet, your keys, and your phone? Okay, so I'm thinking there's an opportunity for fanny packs. So if you're out there, fanny pack nation, I'm telling you, you need to start making some styles with skinny jeans. I don't know if this is going to catch on. I just want people with skinny jeans to look even more ridiculous because I think it's ridiculous. Women in skinny jeans, hot. Okay? Men in skinny jeans, question mark.
Yeah, I don't own a pair of skinny jeans, and I think I look very, very odd, and I know I'd be uncomfortable wearing them.
Yeah.
But, you know, with the fanny packs, like that's always been a really big thing in professional wrestling culture because those guys are so big that with whatever jeans or anything they're wearing, there's always going to be little to no room between your legs and the fabric.
Dude, I always see muscle builders with a fanny pack. I never even thought about that.
Why? Who wears a fanny pack?
I said I always see like these big muscle dudes with like fanny packs. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, that's why. It's because they have... Now, granted, they're carrying around more things than we are on them. You know, they got, like, products and stuff and probably, you know, supplements and all this other stuff on them. But, sorry, what's that?
Syringes and things labeled juice.
Yeah, you would hope not, but, I mean, of course, you know, that kind of stuff, too. But that's why, I mean, in, like, pro wrestling and bodybuilding, it's always been around for that reason, so.
Yeah. Fanny pack nation.
I'd like to see a comeback. I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I had on a fanny pack. And then when I did have it on, I guess it must not have been that awesome because I don't remember it. But
Little.
Yeah.
I had some like neon colored fanny packs when I was like a kid, but I mean even then in the mid 90s, early mid 90s, no one was even really wearing them then even, you know.
Neon color was the shit for a while.
Hell yeah.
Neon shit. Those little bracelets that you threw on your wrist and they wrapped around like they were straight and then you hit them and they curled around. That was the shit too.
I know exactly what you're talking about. they had those. They had those lame ass Chinese finger traps where you like put your fingers.
Oh, fuck yeah. I forgot about those.
Yeah, but I mean, they were very easy to unconnect, but they were there.
Dude,
but that was
I didn't know about them early, and dude, I got fucking trapped, and I fucking panicked, man. Like, it was all shredded around the edges because I was pulling so hard because they were kind of like, wooden a little bit. Like, I was freaking out. Like, I thought the threads were going deeper in my skin. I kept pulling harder. Like, it was bad. I didn't realize. It took me a while to figure it out, okay? Wasn't the sharpest tool in the bunch there back in the day, but I grew into a very intelligent, beastly man.
Yes. And part of it was due to your experience in Chinese finger traps, I'm sure.
That's right.
But think about it. Like, that was the stuff we did for entertainment. Like, we would get a piece of yarn, a long piece of yarn. And remember, like, Cat's Cradle? You would just, like, make designs out of string. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, man. You pick your hand in there and then put it up in the other one, and it would just, like, come loose. You know what I'm talking about?
Flying saucer Eiffel Tower combo.
Fuck yeah, man. I had a mean Eiffel Tower. Jacob's Ladder.
What's that?
Jacob's Ladder. Oh, that was the shit, man.
Dude, and ain't nobody playing with that shit nowadays.
No.
I'm sure there's an app for that that's like create designs with yarn, or
Mm-hmm.
no one's doing that stuff. Like, and granted, I wouldn't either if this kind of stuff was available, but
that's how you got to talk to girls early. That's why it's hard for like people don't talk to nobody no more, because you get a girl be like, hey, you do the little cat's cradle, stick your hand in here, put it up in here, boom. You were instantly like, boyfriend, girlfriend. You get on the slide, show me mine, show me yours.
Yeah.
That's how you started this shit off. Now you don't know.
The fortune tellers or things, you just pick a number.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Color BLUE. Suck my balls.
Exactly.
That was how you got them.
Like, there was like some circle game I remember. I think it was like, and you spell out a word and you cross it out and you're like supposed to marry this person, you're supposed to drive this car, whatever. I was just like, I found my soulmate at like, 8 years old because of this game.
Totally legitimate. I mean, that counted back then. So.
Oh man. Well, this is about wraps it up here for the podcast here. So I just want to kind of first, thank you as a guest. I think that this is one that I think I had a lot of fun with this podcast here, and want to give another shout out to the book that I think is amazing. You guys have got to check this out. It is 101 Daily Thoughts and Affirmations to Create Positive Change by Micheal Austin Jacobs. I'll put the link there on Twitter. Check out the book. It's definitely changed my life. It's made me meditate more, express more gratitude, and bring more abundance in my life. If that sounds like something you're interested in, check it out. If not, whatever gets you to that point where you're feeling happy every day in your life. And everybody kind of needs that, and everybody needs that little reset there. So it was good for me. If you like it, please let us know. Hopefully one day we can have Micheal Jacobs as a guest on here. You got any people you want to shout out to from your channel or anything like that, Stephen?
Yes, I do. Well, first I'm going to plug myself. So that's going to be, my Twitter is at NOW_WORLD_ORDER. That is at now_world_order. My YouTube page is the same. I want to thank anyone who's listening to this from either. My Twitter is up to close to 11,500 followers. My subscriptions on YouTube are, I think, right at 30. So, I mean, at least the stuff's getting out there and I'm getting positive feedback on it. And I will post, we're going to put this on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll post this that we're listening to right now on YouTube also, if you're listening to it on Podomatic or iTunes. I also want to plug WWE SummerSlam's coming up for any professional wrestling fans. It's going to be August 17th. And the pay-per-view after that is called Night of Champions, which I will be attending live in Nashville, Tennessee. So keep your eyes on that. If you're a fan of Brock Lesnar, he'll most likely be at both shows. And he's still a huge name, huge attraction. And the last guy I want to plug is one of my best friends. His name is Daniel Salerson. His Twitter is at DSALLERSON. That's at DSalerson. He works for the New Orleans Pelicans and New Orleans Saints, and he has a podcast called The Black and Blue Report, which is the official podcast of the Saints and Pelicans, both sports franchises. He's a paid journalist and broadcaster. This isn't like me going up on my YouTube channel and just talking a whole bunch of shit about pro wrestling. He's a professional, and his podcast is awesome, but he needs more Twitter followers, and the stuff he puts out there is great. He's a big sports fan. And I was one of the best men in his wedding, and, overall good dude. I owe a lot to him as far as my career goes as well. So, check him out, support him. He's always putting out good stuff.
All right. And my favorite part of the podcast, we give shout outs to our Twitter page at Think Deep Podcast with 1P. Please follow us. We'll give you a shout out. If you follow us, we'll keep doing it to the point where there's going to be so many that I can't do it. So for now, enjoy it right now. So first shout out I want to give out to is Crystal P at Secret OVO. You can follow her on Twitter. Thomas Ryan at Thomas R28991839. You may want to rethink that Twitter handle. That's a lot of numbers. Maybe there's significance behind it. I don't know. He's a thriller writer. It probably has a meaning to it. Apple Girl OX at Apple G1RLX0X. And we have Stephanie at SCD Time, David Rogers, Alma, Ali Barnes. So please, hey guys, we love you listening to the podcast. Please keep subscribing here to the podcast, listening, telling us what you think. If you give us some feedback, we'll give you a shout out there. Oh, I don't want to forget Stone Shaman. Also, Micheal Jacobs in his book that I keep talking about at Mr. Jacobs 21. Man, it's a lot of shout outs to give out to. But that's a good thing. That means we got more people listening. So, any last words there, Stephen?
No, not really. I mean, once again, if you're a fan of pro wrestling, SummerSlam is coming up soon. Also, the UFC has a lot of shows coming up. Big pay-per-view next month, and the month after, John Jones versus Daniel Cormier. The next time I'm on this podcast, Dave, we got to talk about Jones versus Cormier because that fight is going to be huge.
Done. Got it. All right, guys. Keep listening. I'm out.